am a violinist, as you can probably tell. And as a violinist, I often find myself questioning the purpose of what I do. Why have I spent years of my life refining my ability to make sound come out of this box? It just seems ridiculous. And when you really think about it, music in general is a really strange idea. Music is simply rhythms and pitches, vibrations in the air, but vibrations that can speak to people's emotions in a way unlike anything else. We spend so much of our lives listening to people pluck strings or blow into tubes or hit things with sticks, and people value these sounds. We value music and value it in a really interesting way. As to the reason why, nobody knows. All we have are theories and conjecture. But one of the most remarkable things is that without fail, wherever there are humans, there is music. Every culture has its music. From remote Pacific islands to isolated jungle tribes, wherever there are humans, there is bound to be music. And this makes clear the fact that music is not simply an isolated artistic trend, but is somehow hardwired into the human brain. It seems we are psychologically predisposed to create music. And while there are endless theories as to why we develop this inclination, be it to attract mates or create tighter social bonds, or maybe our love for music is nothing but an evolutionary incident with no real purpose, still, no one is certain. But regardless, music is human. Only humans create music, and all humans know music. It is one of the hallmarks of our species that differentiate us from all others. My personal history with music is something that I believe many musicians especially can relate to. I began playing the violin at a rather difficult time in my life. I was in 5th grade and had just moved across the country from Indiana to Mississippi a year and a half earlier. I was frustrated with school and generally unhappy, and so I requested to drop out and be homeschooled. I was young, I was lonely, and I was angry at the world. And one day, I was watching Ken Burns' Civil War documentary. And was totally captivated, not by the horrendous images of war, but by the faint melody of a violin, perhaps one of the most remarkable sounds I had ever heard. It was a piece called Ashokan Farewell, but at that time I didn't know what it was, just that I was determined to learn to play that song, and soon after I began violin lessons. And the seed that was planted by that fiddle tune has grown to be the principal driving force of my entire life. In writing the speech, I spent an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out why in the world I choose to spend all my time practicing the violin. It's a question I've wanted to dissect for years, and the answer I have reached is that I have no idea. It's disappointing, but on my journey from wanting to figure something out to deeming it impossible, I reinforced a philosophy that I hold, and one that I believe many musicians are familiar with. Wouldn't I rather be totally immersed in this thing that I love than spend my life trying to find an explanation as to why I love it? Music is human. To be human is to have a love for music, and if we were to dismiss our humanity, that would be an injustice upon ourselves. At some point, we all reach a turning point, beyond which nobody knows what happens. And when I approach that turning point, I hope to be able to look back and see more than a lifetime spent struggling to pay off debts or earning monetary gains. And so why do I play the violin? It's because I put my humanity before all else. And I'd now like to perform the Allemande and Courante from Bach's Partita No. 2. This is from Bach's collection of unaccompanied sonatas and partitas, a set of pieces which present rather interesting challenges. Because they are unaccompanied, Bach had to weave melody, harmony, and all the other familiar parts of ensemble music into a single line of music for a single instrument. And he was not clear in the way he imagined this music being performed. There's little more than notes on these pages. But since its composition in 1717, countless violinists have presented countless interpretations, and here today, in 2019, over 300 years later, we can still find value in it.